Hello, welcome to my channel for Evolved Humans. I'm Ms. Day. This is a collective reading, so the first thing I want to talk about is device interference all throughout this week. I'm not talking about like the piddly little things that we think, oh, haha, that's funny that just happened to me. I'm actually talking about like huge interferences, like things crashing, things dying, that it makes no sense. They're all updated, they're backed up, clear even, microwaves acting up. Super crazy stuff. I had this happening so much throughout this week, and I was sure after about a day that it was not pinned to a personal reading that I was doing. So this is it's interesting because it was a huge deal, huge red flags all over the place that it didn't feel good. It's like, okay, so it was such a problem personally that I had to ask my guides, I had to ask my highest level guides like what to do about it. I didn't even care why anymore. I was like, I know that this isn't because I'm doing something wrong, because I'm doing everything with the right intention and following through, and yet I was being defeated. So it's like that defeated feeling is okay, so I had to go up. It's like I had to literally go up about it. I had to reach out from this negative place that I was feeling. I was like really reacting badly this week. And I'm just being honest because it actually ties into this reading. This is crazy big message. So I realized when I asked for help, when I was like, what can I do, to counter this? It was like an instant answer was already in my mind, and it's just my focus kind of just allowed for it to have a space in there again. I clear houses, and device stuff, like device interference to that degree, it's like, I would say, oh, that's negative activity. The thing is, it's literally, it has to be low frequency to have to bounce between objects like that anyway. So it's like, okay. Anyway, so the device interference, I was like, okay, so that's environmental stimulus that I'm receiving and experiencing, and I'm receiving it negatively. Like I was receiving it and being defeated. So it's like decision is an action. So when I decided, okay, something has to be done about this because it's way too energy-y to feel like it's not just an attention grabber, it's an interruption. And it's like I had to decide, instead of lingering in that indecision place of wondering why, I was like, I don't know why this is happening. Why does this keep happening? Oh my gosh, it happened again. And it's like, instead of getting stuck on that and sitting in the lingering indecision of it, I had to just be like, okay, I know there's a high frequency, so I just had to reach up and be like, what can I do? The answer wasn't coming. Like I wasn't getting told this is happening because. So it's like when you're going through this huge transition, when you're going through your awakening stuff, it's like sometimes you think it's going to slow down and be easier, and it actually gets quicker and more abrupt. So that indecision, that place of indecision, is what this part of the reading is about. Your will, your like actual decision and attitude can be it can be swept in and just like replaced by a low frequency. And so when negative stuff is happening and you literally are like wondering why it's happening, it's like it's still happening. It's still environmentally coming at you almost. And so not deciding to step above it's being defeated. So decision is an action. That's like a huge part of this reading. And then the device interferences. Okay, so the first house that I cleared, this is an example of how the low frequencies can get in and actually like swoosh right over your own awareness. Like I knew what device interference meant to me personally. I just didn't, it's like I lost it. I lost my view of that. Like suddenly there was a wall or a cloud in front of it. It's very strange. Until I reached up and then cleared it away. So the first house that I cleared, it was 10 years ago. My daughter was 2 at the time. My oldest daughter was 2 at the time. And this is a part of the reading. This is going to tie into that, like your willpower can get taken over. Well, as I was realizing that I could connect to past loved ones, and I was experiencing all of the crap, creepy, all of the stuff that you can experience, like that's what was happening in this house. All of it on top of each other. It was nuts. And so my daughter was 2. She was definitely seeing things, and she was like definitely feeling that overwhelming terror at night. She went through things, and I'm like, oh, well, everybody talks about night terrors. I didn't know. But I had her sleeping in my room one night. This was like a life-altering moment for me in my awakening, and I feel so strongly that what I've been getting told this week is to share this with you. So whoever you are that's listening to this, I know that you are accessing all levels all of the time. And maybe you even zone in on the high frequencies a lot. That's what it feels like. Like I feel like you zone in on the high stuff, and then you kind of like lose it sometimes. It gets pingy. Okay. Or spotty. Okay, so in this house that we were in, okay, my daughter was experiencing a whole bunch of stuff in her bedroom. I experienced stuff in her bedroom. We decided that we were not going to force her to sleep in her bedroom because I was like, okay, so she was sleeping in my bed. And she was definitely scared in there, but it was like the first time in my room. So again, I was like, well, maybe it's not all scary stuff in the dark. Like maybe it's a 2-year-old having night terrors, you know? And so, well, that's what I was thinking at that point in time. Not on this night. So on that night, I was walking down the stairs from leaving her in my bed, in my bedroom. And she was freaking out. And I was like, it was like a really immature moment inside of me. And I'm sharing it because it's so real. How easily not knowing something and not deciding can take control of your vehicle. So I was like going down the stairs. And as I went down I was rushing out of the room. I was like, just like impatient. And I was like not having it. And I was like, well, everything's fine. Obviously, mommy just, is in here. Everything's fine. Everything feels good. I don't feel scared. And even though I was reacting, it's like it was a weird hormonal feeling. So I was walking down the stairs, and I realized as I was about halfway down the stairs, I was like, my kid is scared. I sense something in this house that is scary. And I just walked out of the room and like essentially left her with it. And that was a crazy moment for me because I realized, now this is where it's so important to trust what you know already. Like as you go into all of this stuff trying to find the answers, you've got to start with some too. You've got to have a solid base and foundation in your mind, like certain truths that are absolutely unable to be altered. So for me, I was that kid. Like I was scared in my bedroom at night, and I was told, go back to sleep, you're just being sensitive and crazy, whatever. I was that kid. So like I was, as a mom, from the moment that she started experiencing stuff, I was like super open about it. I was like, doing everything I could to make her not scared. So I didn't want her to feel alone in the dark with something. Even if there was nothing there, I wouldn't want her to do that. So like my truth was present. So I realized in that moment on the stairs, I was like, okay, so that's what they mean when they talk about it like taking over your own actions. So I obviously turned around and went back to be with her, but that's the end of that story. Okay, so going on. The reason trusting what you know is so important is because it's like there are certain truths inside of you that if you can just not see those, then you really you can't find stable ground necessarily going forward. And you really need, that's what it was, you need solid truth as a base in your mind. That's to protect your ability to decide what to do. It's your ability to decide that you need to always have sight of. Because like when you're doing all of this stuff and you're open to all of it, you don't have to let it all in. You do not. And you also don't have to allow it to be there. So it's just like that device thing. As soon as I reached up and made a decision, it changed the experiences that I was having immediately. Okay, so this is where it's like your decision is your force of will in action. That's what that is. You decide up here. So if like you're getting spotty information and it's taking you all over the place in your own head, and you're like, I get information sometimes and sometimes I don't. It's like when it's all spotty like that, you can't always sit in indecision about it. So when everything's happening to you and like you're feeling, okay, I feel like some of you are feeling the heavy weight of, why is this all happening at once? Why am I experiencing all of these things? What do I do with this? Why am I seeing so many things in my dreams at night when I'm falling asleep? Or why am I just so overly sensitive? Why are things continuing to happen to me? Or why is it elevated right now? All of that stuff, it's like so many people are feeling so many different effects from awakening and transitioning upward right now. So I do feel like it's just really, it's so intense and it feels like pressure. So it's like a part of this is really about, this reading is really about using, okay, the importance of words can really carry you throughout this stuff. It's like if you hear a whole bunch of words all over the place and you don't really attach to all of them, maybe emotionally inside, like it's your truth now, sometimes all of those words can be all over in your head, in your mind all of the time, because they don't really have anywhere else to go. You're just contemplating all of it all at once. So that's not all of you, but I feel like some of you are very distracted by those things, and it's like certain things are not sticking necessarily or going all the way through, but you're so like willing to learn that they're still in there. And I think that a lot of that is what this reading is about. It's like, okay, so when everything's going crazy with all the words, it's like you're fine-tuning this awakening process, the transitioning upward process. It's always getting you better in sync with the higher frequencies. Maybe you're better aware of the lower ones, or when you've experienced them, or where, what you react to. But it's like getting fine-tuned to communicate with to connect high frequency information. That's like what you want. You want to be fine-tuning. So it's important, okay. It's like, it's important for you to release stuff. And that means that even if you gather all of these different words and like all of these different things that, make sense of your ability and like of your experiences, it's like clear it out every now and then. Just keep the things that are absolutely for sure to you. And that doesn't mean get rid of the others. But I feel like a lot of you are like containing it all in your mind. And I think that someone needs to like carry a notebook, like in their pocket. That's what they're telling me. It's interesting. All right. So it's like the message is, this is a lot of what it felt like. It was like, make a decision daily to practice the way that you open and close that sort of like information flow. It's like when I was getting ready to do this, it's like a lot of you, I feel, and this is not all of you, but I do think that a lot of you, whether you're at like a beginning stage of your awakening or whether you're like way later and you're already using it and you're just transitioning like we keep doing, it's like no matter where you are in that, it's like I feel like it can be hard to be present with others in your life when you're constantly learning about this stuff and trying to elevate and to elevate others and to like go with it and to, take in information as it is coming. So it's like I feel so much like you're being told to take control and to feel like you have a right to silence that stream, silence it sometimes, and then take like your time away and be present with the others in your life or just doing other things. Because a lot of those other things, like in regular life, they keep you connected to the truths in there. And then you've got time to decide what extra stuff is floating around in addition to your own information that you feel solid with already. So, okay, so on the spotty thing. So I feel like some of you, this felt really specific. Like, I feel like a lot of you are getting information a lot because you're already awake, you're already open, you're already aware of it, and you may even have been using it for like years now. And I feel like, and I don't mean using it like a game, I mean literally you're just like kind of, it's a part of you, it's more aligned. So I feel like some of you are wondering why it's so spotty, like why the messages coming in. It's like I feel like you think sometimes you get downloads and sometimes you're not getting downloads. It's like sometimes you're getting information and the other times you're just not. And it's like I'm not sure. It feels like, well, I'm not sure why I'm not getting information right now. I'm not sure why I did right then. I just know that that's how it seems to keep happening. And so some of you, in reaction to that, some of you are like feeling that almost like a frozen in time in your own mind, like almost like a stillness suddenly amidst all of that like movement that's constant. And that's because it's like I feel like you're not sure what to do because you're listening so constantly, and then it's like that's a constant interaction. Sometimes you really do need like a regrounding with your own self without all of that extra noise, just to see what's going on in here. What do I contain today and now? And what things am I holding on to from the past few weeks? Maybe from a couple of phone calls ago that like somebody really kind of messed with me a little bit. It's like all of those little things don't feel as important when your like thirst for knowledge is leading you. But that's what I feel like they're telling some of you, like and the ones that are feeling kind of frozen in stillness when you're not sure what else to do. It's like they want you to reconnect with yourself. Like, don't forget that part. The experience and everything that you experience can only aid in your connections. So like taking that time off and closing that door so that you have time to do you stuff and your like friends, family stuff, or focus on your other work that's not this type of stuff. It's like you need to be allowed to do what you feel you need because you are the only one who lives there. So, okay, so this is like one of those spots where I feel like certain things that are distracting you, I feel like that's one that this is literally a word I wrote down about this. This is like, I have never had a problem with this word. In fact, this is one of the ones I think is cool. It's the word downloads. And I don't have a problem with it now. I'm saying someone in this reading, it's like almost like words like that are limiting you because you hear them and you apply them literally. Not bad. That's a cool brain. So like whoever's listening to this is cool. There's nothing negative about your perception of a word. It's like something about it doesn't stick with you personally. But I feel like you use that word because it feels like the best description that there is for you. And so with that one, it's like, okay, so when you're going through all of this stuff and it doesn't really fit and it doesn't sync, it's almost like you're being told to redirect your focus on the purpose, which is another part of this reading. It makes me think of the Jim Rohn, a man named Jim Rohn. He is passed now, but he said he did a lot of public speaking, and one of the things that he said was that the purpose is stronger than the object itself. And I just keep thinking about that for everyone here. It's like whatever is happening around you or at you or whatever due to this occurrence, it's like you have a right to decide all of the time, you deserve a right to decide when, how quickly you go through stuff. Like, you do have decisions that you are allowed, like you were given the decision. So, okay. So going forward, anyway, it's like one of the ways that I interpret information coming in. This is for the people that like, okay, the word downloads. This is a weird thing. So one of the things that happens, it's like if you alter the word into the experience you're having, the purpose of the information that's coming in, it's actually you connecting with the high frequency. It's you. You have to connect. Your vehicle is being fine-tuned currently to connect with the high frequency. That's what this is about. Whatever you're going to do with it is more individual. But when you're awakened, it's for the connection to get clearer. So, and that's up to you. It's your pace. It's your work. And then, okay, so this is it. It's like the word connection, I feel like, can help some of you. It's a connection. It's not about getting information placed in a pocket in your brain. It's more like when you're open to receiving, they will use whatever you have experienced. So it's like, or whatever you can experience in your mind. So it's like a lot of times, all of the readings that you see online, everybody says different things, like from songs that they've heard. I mean, like some people will sing old school Madonna, some people will do like new R&B. Everyone is giving a message according to what information they have inside of their vehicle. So when we get information and it's like what some would call downloads, it's not an envelope with a message getting placed in here or some sort of like programming. It's literally you are going to become aware of information within your own mind, and then next is to interpret what the point of that was. So it's like in this moment right now, oftentimes in readings I will say things from movies. I'll say like, oh, in this movie this happened, and then that can help you understand or relate to an experience. So like, for example, during this reading, here's the example for that. This is what came to mind for this one when I was writing this out right before getting on here. It's like the quote Noah, or from the movie Noah. I watched it during the pandemic. Okay, I don't remember word for word anything, so please don't hold me to this and please don't judge this, okay? But the line that I heard when I was like, okay, like literally I was immediately like, I'm thinking of the readings where I said the happening in it, like I'll mention other movies in my personal readings. I will say Disney songs a lot, and I'll refer to kids movies because I'm a mom and I've been an aunt my whole life. So like that stuff it's pretty stocked up. I also like a whole range of music. So sometimes I'll say country music from like 20 years ago, and then sometimes I'll say like, anything else. Okay, so the point is, it's a connection because of what you have inside of you. So like the more in connection you are with this and with you and everything that you've ever experienced, the better your connection with the high frequency will be. It's like, don't forget the you time. Don't forget the just who am I? What have I gone through in my life? I am always going to be this human. So, or at least during this lifetime, there is a purpose to that. So like, don't just think your purpose is to reach out. Okay, so then the other part of this is, so it's like that movie Noah, okay? I think it's just called Noah. So there's a scene, and this is an example of a connection that not everyone would make because not everyone has seen this movie. But the line that I was given for it was this, like, it's a scene where Noah goes to the mountain, and then he talks to some, like, I think it's Anthony Hopkins on the mountain, and they call him grandfather. And he's like, and his grandfather is like, or the grandfather dude is like, Noah, can the flood be stopped? And Noah's like, I don't know the answer to that question, more or less. And then the grandfather is like, You must trust that God speaks to you in a way that you can understand. And that's where it's like when words don't stick, that's the message. It's when the words don't stick, it's okay to let them go. Put them aside and ask for a different one. Like it's so important to know that your connection is allowed to be tweaked so that you can use it better, because they want that too. They don't want to just give you something and you have to figure it out without their help. They'll help you. So again, fine-tuning your own connection with your own self is going to give them that ability. So then, okay. All right. It's a connection. Yeah. So it's like everything. Okay. So everything that you've ever experienced at all is used to connect you. That can go for low frequencies too. So it's like that's where that little swooshing in and taking over your willpower can be so easily done. So just an example of that, it's like whenever you're feeling defeated or whenever you're like feeling small, the example of that little, the willpower like just swooshing in, I already said that about like the creepy house or whatever, but when I'm going to clear a house, in order to make sure that I don't get negative emotional reactions from the negative energy, I close off in my mind all consciousness, like conscious awareness of my emotional ties at home, of anyone in my life that I love. I'm not open to that at that time because I'm supposed to be interacting with or identifying someone else. So it's like just like going to work with a normal job, only with this it's a little bit more. It's like really important to seal that off, because if they have access to if the low frequency can use the super important emotional deep information that is sacred to me against me, then what will happen? Yes, I'll get freaked out if I see bad images of someone getting sick. I'll get super freaked out if someone looks like they're dying or something. So I don't allow that to happen, because that's how they connect. It's a connection. It's not just being given information. You're connecting all of the time, and whatever information you contain is what they're going to use. That's why it's so cool that whoever I do readings for on here, I feel like you're all so learny. You're such learners. Learny, sorry. All right. So it's okay, here's the thing. Whenever you're feeling if I feel like some of you, this is a wave of different levels in this feelings part. I feel like a lot of you are feeling very lonely, and I feel like you're feeling, so it's whenever you feel kind of defeated first. It's I feel like some of you are feeling that defeated feeling and feeling kind of small in it. Maybe small in the feeling of feeling like you don't know how to get control all of the time of it, access it at will and then close it back off. And it's so when you feel all of those things, I'm also talking to people who know how to manifest. I know that. That's what's so interesting about this, because I know that applies to you. I know that I'm talking to people who way back in high school, you would even, or early adulthood or childhood even, but I'm thinking adolescence. It's you remember things happening that you imagined and then they happened. So it's whoever I'm talking to, it's you have the ability to get the results that you want. And it's this is where that awesome quote by Jim, that awesome thing that Jim Rohn said when he said that the purpose is stronger than the object itself. It's you have the power of decision to make things happen. And it's when it's becoming aware of it or learning something, it's I feel like you're all very willing to do that. That's what it feels like. But there's something about it's whoever you are, I feel like a lot of you are feeling so lonely on this journey. It's such a lonely feeling, and it's almost you're surrounded in it, and it might be in other people's energies. and just the energy because of your transitioning, like in your awareness. So here's what it's like. What's interesting is humans put off a low frequency just by being alive. And so when you're feeling that type of lonely and you know what your ability and your power to manifest, it's like this message, this part of this reading is to tell you to align those two situations with one another. One is a negative experience that you're having. One is your ability to get different results. And it's like the message that I keep feeling is that you have the power to reach up in those moments. That's what this whole thing was like about when I first knew, okay, this is a reading for YouTube and this is for a group, because all I had to do was remember something that I tell other people, and then it hit me like a bus this week. So it's really important for you to know that all of that power that you have, it's available in your weakest, lowest moments, in your most defeated, in your most lonely moments. It's not always like the pressure is not only on you. And I feel like that's probably the coolest, most important part of this message is it's like, if you see, okay, let's see here. If you see, I already did that. Okay. If you see any of these, if you're like seeing the video, I literally ask for the high frequency to decide who gets what. Like, I don't have any choices on that. I just want them to be able to use me as intended so that you can get through all of the weird moments that took me forever. I feel like that's what I wanted to do personally, and they're just kind of helping that along because that's their intention. It's to fine-tune the connection. And so it's like, I'm really serious about seeing people carrying a notebook in their pocket, just so you know, throughout your daily activities, write down the random thoughts that you get. Maybe write down the random synchronicities and the connections that you make in your own mind. And then the ones who are feeling this stuck feeling, there's a wave of it's lonely, it's heavy, and it's stuck. And I feel like there's so much heavy around you as well that you can't see, but you know it's there. And I know you know all the frequencies are there, but it's like you're stuck, almost sunk into your vehicle and can't access it. Some of you, not all of you. And then, so I feel like what I'm getting for all of you though is to be patient with yourself. And then some of you, stand up for yourself. Stand up for yourself against these things interfering with your daily life and your world, because that standing up for yourself, it's all you have to do. Okay. I feel like this message, this reading, all throughout this week, I almost feel like just empowering yourself is not all it's about. It's I feel so strongly that during this, when I was getting all ready, to sit in front of the computer and do this, I feel like they're wanting you to be patient with yourself, and they're giving you permission to tell yourself that they've got your back. They've got your back. When you're feeling in the low spots, when you're feeling horrible, or just kind of overbearing energy all around you, whoever that is for, it's they want you to stop forgetting that you have the power to get the results you want, and you can reach up and alter what is happening around you if you just remember that you can do that. And it's the reason this is so hard, it's actually really important that it's not just they have your back. It's that whoever you are, it's almost you have a perception all the way deep down in where it's you almost feel like they don't. That's definitely not all of you, but I feel a really big wave in this one is it feels you almost feel like they haven't necessarily always had your back. And I don't know that you think that at the high frequency, but maybe just kind of at people in general. So that's not everybody. This is why I wrote this down, because it feels like so much energy now. So for those who are watching and you're like, no matter what experience you're going through, I do feel like your power to draw in what it is that you want to experience is at a height right now. It's like, it feels very action moment. Like, don't linger in indecision. Don't sit back thinking that you don't deserve everything that you want and are working for. Like, don't let anybody screw with you. Step forward and like use your voice. Start wondering if they can make you feel if they have your back, and like they will. It will happen. And whatever you want to draw in, it's like someone also, okay, here's the thing. Whatever you just picture sitting in a moment of indecision and like not knowing what to do and like kind of feeling a little bit pingy about where to direct your focus and your time. It's like, and then think about sitting down and like heavy, lonely types of feelings, feeling like no one's here with me. How am I ever going to get out? How am I ever going to stop feeling this weight come back? And it's like, this message, this part feels super emotional. It's whatever that manifestation truth is, which is that you draw in what it is that you can experience in here first, right? That's how you draw it in. You have to experience it being there in here. And that's what draws it to you. So the message that this feels like it got a little heavier at the end. And it's like, it's very difficult to have a relationship with someone who will not let you love them. So it's like you have to apply that truth here. Because the ability to manifest, the ability to decide, to choose to reach upward, it's always there. It's always there in every single moment. Whenever you feel like all the pressure's on you and that no one's going to be there, it's like maybe you're not going to see them, but you are I literally ask for people who they want to keep going, to go up. So like anything that's holding you back, anything that's making you feel like you're not, anything at all that's like happened in your life that makes you almost feel like there's something inside of you that doesn't quite feel significant enough to really get to where you want to be. It's like that is exactly what this is for. This is because the exact opposite is true. So I'm going to leave it at that. I know this is a little longer reading. That's because, like I said, this was throughout the week, had some device difficulties, and I really wanted to make sure that it was organized so that I didn't stutter it all out like I'm doing now. So thanks for watching if you watched the whole thing. And then if it is for you, I really hope that it was helpful. I really hope that this kind of like gives you information pieces that maybe you can just kind of cut yourself a break, that you don't have to know the whys. Just know that the connection's always there. You can always connect. You don't have to do it right. You just have to know you can, and then you're connected. So, and when you forget, it's like, I just feel like that's when you remember those moments. That's when you think about those moments, and they're really important. When you think about the message that it's hard to have a connection with someone if they won't let you put love in their direction. So like that manifesting stuff, like all of the times that you wonder, do I have healing to do still? I still have crap to get out and let go of and process through. It doesn't mean that you always are going to have that stuff just because like it keeps coming back. But if it keeps coming back and you know that like someone's got your back, and that like you know that you want it done, you want it out, then it will come out. It will happen. You have to believe in your ability to connect to the high frequency, because the ability to connect to the low stuff, it's not good enough for you. So, okay, I will really leave it at that. I really hope that you guys have been having a pretty good week and hopefully not having all the crazy stuff that I've been talking about, but it certainly feels like a lot of you are. So if you're going through a crazy period, please know that you are not alone. I am also going through some interesting stuff, and I will, if you like the way that, or if you feel like this resonates with you, definitely let me know in the comments. Definitely let me know if you've been going through the stuff that I talked about, or if this helps you in any way. And then thanks for the subscribes, and when you like the videos and all of that, like, it really does, it's awesome. It makes me feel like you're getting messages that you're supposed to be getting. So, okay, and I will see you in the next reading. Okay, bye.